Hey day doers, how you doing? I am broadcasting live from my car because I have to multitask right now. I've been struggling with something that I know I'm not alone in struggling with, and I just thought there'd be some value in talking about it, getting it out there, something I'm going to write about as well. But for right now, I just wanted to post a little video and get that out there. It's the idea of prioritizing, and I'm in the throes of it right now. So for those who haven't seen, I left my day job. I've been running two careers for a while, and I picked one, and I've been doing that full time, like this kind of stuff, speaking, coaching, and trying to build that business. But the huge difference is with my day job, I had meetings, I had regularly occurring scheduled items. I was booked out for months at a time. It was all very clear, and I had some control over my life. But a lot of things were just like, look, this is when this meeting occurs, and you go then, and there's a fixed universe of people who are trying to get time with you. And then you flip out into the entrepreneurial world or the working for yourself world, and all those rules are gone, and those fences are gone. And so there's this amazing influx of people who want time with me, which is great. And I'm all for that, whether it's client work or networking or just like-minded people who are connecting that, like, let's talk about what we're all working on and see if we can share some ideas. It's really good stuff. But there's a lot of it, and it's kind of all flying at me from different angles. And the question is, which stuff do I do? Which stuff do I set aside? How do I do that without being rude or seeming disinterested? And what ends up happening is if you don't make those calls proactively and purposefully, the calls make themselves for you. And you end up overscheduled, and you end up drawn into too many different things, and not all of them matter, in the grand scheme of things, or in the scheme of where you have your eyes set, where you're trying to get yourself. So I've been really battling with that, and I protected some time. I've definitely had some blocks in my schedule to get some work done. I've been working on a course of the content of Do a Day, so that's something that I will be putting out hopefully before the end of the year. I've gotten some good work on some of the materials for that, so it hasn't all been a waste. I've had some amazing calls, either networking, potential clients, or as I was saying before, like-minded people who let's share some ideas and some thoughts about how we're doing what we're doing, and can we help each other do it better. But then I've also had a lot of I'll have a call for an hour, and then I'll have 15 minutes, and then I'll have another call. And the thing about the 15 minutes in between is, no matter how fast you work, you're not going to be terribly productive. You're not going to be terribly productive in a quality way. And that's the tricky part. So how do you give yourself more space to do really quality work, to be able to put your mind into it, to produce something that you want to have your name on? It's not just about ticking off a to-do item. It's about getting it done in a way that actually moves you forward. Someone that I've been working with yesterday was saying that, she's in a similar boat, and she's super successful and has lots of demands on her time. And she's like, I'm definitely working in my business, not on my business. I know it's a bit of a catchphrase, but it's true. And I get that firsthand. So the thing is, I think we all face that from time to time. Obviously, entrepreneurs probably face it more than someone who works in a big corporation that's more scheduled. But having been in that setting, I know it happens too. It's just, it's all on me now. So, I have to regulate myself, and that's a new feeling. The counter to all that is, I could just say no to things, and I could be really picky and choosy. But then what if I miss something? What if I say no to a networking call that ends up leading to something great? And so you get into this fear of missing out kind of feeling. And fear of missing out when you're an entrepreneur is not just about missing an experience. It's like that could have been the thing that made your business what you're trying to make it, or made your impact in my case. I'm trying to help people change their lives. Maybe that's the thing that flipped the situation around. And I would have missed out on it rather. So how do you say no to these things? And how do you pick and choose when you may not know which one of those things is going to lead to the big win or the big amplifier in what you're trying to achieve? And that's what makes it so hard. It's not as simple as just no meetings between these times, or anyone who's trying to meet with me about this, I just won't talk to. or only talk to people who are doing XYZ. It's easier said than done, because you got to make some judgment calls, and sometimes you got to take a risk. And maybe the answer is you need to make some space for these opportunistic, serendipitous kind of like, oh, I really wasn't expecting anything to come from that, but lo and behold, it did. And what if I didn't make time for it? So again, it comes back to balance, figuring out how to find that balance. Now, I don't have it. I haven't found it yet. I'm still working on it, but I'm only a couple weeks in, so give me a chance. I'm doing better, I will say that. Like, I definitely am less hyper scheduled. I wouldn't have gotten the coursework done this week if that was the case. So I've made some progress, but there's some other things I wanted to get into that I just couldn't, and I'm okay with that. I know I will get into them soon enough. I've got some good blocks in my calendar starting next week, and I've named it with a specific thing that I'm going to do. It's actually a lot of the tips in my burnout articles. You can find them on my blog if you search for the word burnout at bryanfalchuk.com/blog. My last article for Inc. magazine was about burnout, and it was, some tips for recovering from it. And this is one of them. Block your time and defend it religiously, because if you don't, it's going to get sucked away from you and you're going to get burnt out even more than you already are. So no huge answers for anyone, but I always think it's good to be open and honest about the struggles that we all face. And this is one that's very live for me right now as I make this big transition. And hey, I got to figure it out. I got to make this really clear and make it work, or the whole thing won't work. So I'll get there, making some progress, and I'll certainly talk about it more in time. But I just want to share the thoughts with you. And if you're struggling with that same prioritization call and feeling overscheduled and maybe underproductive as a result of it, leave a comment, shoot me a note. I'd love to hear from you. Send me a video, shoot me a message on Facebook Messenger, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you want. It's all Bryan Falchuk everywhere. And of course at bryanfalchuk.com. Thanks everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.